What's going on, guys? Kalipa's Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, we're going to be doing a comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G and the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G. Before we get started, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. But that being said, let's get into it. So the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G has a 6.5-inch TFT display with a resolution of 720p, a PPI of 270, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 81.6%. As you can see here, the bezels are a little bit on the thicker side, but I'd say the display itself looks decently good. We got a water drop notch here for the front-facing camera, and this camera is 13 megapixels. The Samsung Galaxy A22 5G has a 6.6-inch TFT display as well, a resolution of 1080p, a PPI of 399, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 82.3%. So the bezels on this phone are a little bit thinner, and I would say overall the display looks better, which is not very surprising considering the resolution is 1080p on this phone and only 720p on this phone. We got a water drop notch for this phone as well, which I'm not even kidding, it looks exactly the same. And this camera is 8 megapixels. So overall, they are really similar, but I would say the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G has the better display because it has pretty much everything exactly the same as the A32 5G, except the resolution is better and the bezels are slightly thinner. One advantage though that the A32 5G has is the front-facing camera. It is a little bit better quality than it is on the A22 5G, but it's really close. Both of these phones have 128 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion. Keep in mind that that is these specific variants of the phones. There are other variants out there that only have 64 gigabytes. But that being said, for the purposes of this video, these are the 128 gigabyte variants of each phone, and this is a lot of storage. Nowadays, the system and apps and pretty much everything are all getting bigger and bigger, and it's always good to have more storage than you think you need. So even if you're an average user who doesn't use a whole lot of space, having 128 gigabytes of internal storage is going to be still a good idea if you can. So these phones are both good options for that purpose. Neither of these phones have wireless charging, no big surprise there. But both of them have a fingerprint scanner in the exact same spot right here on the power keys, and they both have face unlock. So let's give each one a try and see how well the fingerprint scanner works. There we go, that was real fast. One more time. And there we go. There we go, one more time. And there we go. So both these fingerprint scanners work pretty much the same. I think it's literally the exact same design, so there's no real surprise there. It's really the same thing, but they do work really well. I have no complaints here. For the rear camera setup, the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G has a quad camera setup with a 48 megapixel rear camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. The Samsung Galaxy A22 5G has a 48 megapixel rear camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. So the A32 5G has a couple more features than the A22 5G. They are really close, but I would say if you're looking to take really high quality pictures and the camera is a priority for you, the A32 5G does have an advantage because not only does it have a macro camera, but it also has a higher megapixel ultra wide camera, which is going to be a little bit better quality for video. Once again, the A32 5G does have an advantage, being able to shoot 4K in the rear camera and 1080p in the front, versus the A22 5G that can only shoot 2K in the rear and 1080p in the front. And I personally don't see that much value in being able to shoot 2K, because if you're going to shoot higher than 1080p, it just makes sense to shoot 4K and not 2K, because 2K doesn't really even make any sense. I didn't even realize that was a thing until this phone. So you might as well just get the A32 5G. They can shoot 4K if you want to shoot really high resolution videos. Internally, the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G is getting 6 gigabytes of RAM, with the MediaTek Dimensity 720 5G processor. I ran a Geekbench 5 benchmark test on this phone and it came back with a single core score of 472 and a multi-core score of 1520. The Samsung Galaxy A22 5G is also getting 6GB of RAM with the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G processor. I ran a Geekbench 5 benchmark test on this phone as well, and it came back with a single core score of 561 and a multi-core score of 1726, so the numbers really speak for themselves. The Samsung Galaxy A22 5G, for whatever reason, does have a little bit more processing power than the A32 5G, so if that's a priority for you, definitely keep that in mind. Both of these phones have 5,000 milliamp hour batteries that support 15-watt fast charging, literally identical, but compared to other phones, this is really good. If you have a more mobile lifestyle where you don't have a lot of time to charge your phone, but still have to use it heavily throughout the day, these batteries are going to be perfect, because even if your battery does start to die in the middle of the day, which is pretty unlikely if you charge your phone every night, the fast charging is going to help you charge up your phone a lot faster so you can get back to your day quicker. Now, one huge difference between these two phones is that the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G has NFC and the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G does not. So NFC is the technology behind contactless mobile payment services like Samsung Pay and Google Pay and all that. And I think that pretty much every phone should have NFC. And that's a really important feature to me, at least, because I use it all the time. And I feel like a lot of people really do nowadays. So having NFC does make the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G a bit more appealing. But in conclusion, which one of these devices is better? That is a tough choice because each of them has its own strengths and weaknesses that the other doesn't. So for example, the display of the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G is hands down much better. This phone has a higher resolution and thinner bezels, and to top it all off, the display of this phone is 1/10 of an inch larger than the display of the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G. But on the other hand, the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G not only has a better camera, but it can also shoot 4K videos, and the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G can't, so that's an advantage in favor of the A32 5G. In addition to that, the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G does appear to have a stronger processor, but the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G has NFC. So I would say for the most well-rounded phone that has the most amount of features, the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G is going to be the better option. But if you want a phone with a really high quality display and the fastest processor, the A22 5G is going to have an advantage. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found this information useful as well. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.